Hello. Today on DIY with Chris. Our computer configuration that we have right now is going to consist of a dual screen setup, a tower, the keyboard, and a mouse. So the individual components we just have the keyboard that came with the tower when we purchased it, the mouse that came with the tower. Both of these are powered by USB ports. You have the dual screen setup, and we'll show you how to set up that configuration. So there will be the power source for this screen for each individual screen, and then for when you're setting up the dual screens, your input source or your input cable to the tower are going to have to be different per screen. So one is going to use your standard monitor configuration. Some of the new screens now actually come with HDMI cables, and that's what this is here. So you can see the difference between them. If you go to Best Buy or another electronics store, they're going to be able to help you out with HDMI cables. Otherwise, it may come with it automatically, but usually this blue monitor cable is the standard configuration, or has been for the last while. So those are the two different ones that you're going to want. You cannot set up, as far as I know, a dual screen process using the same cable. So I cannot use two HDMIs or two monitor cables. You're going to have to use two different sources. So we have our screen on the left that's hooked up to the regular blue cable, and our screen on the right is running our HDMI cable. For the tower, we're going to have the power cable, and they all just go to the regular outlet, but this one has the standard 3-prong configuration. So it has the ground and then the other electric portions for it. And that is a standard electric cable for most towers. I haven't seen another configuration at this time. So our first step is going to be to plug that in. So we're going to come to the back of the tower right now. Going to take our power source plug-in, and it's usually always going to be at the top of the tower. So we're going to plug that right in. Leave the other end unplugged for now while we're plugging everything else in. We're going to take our monitor cable. So if you're just running one screen, it'll probably be either this blue one or maybe an HDMI cable. So you're going to push on your blue cable into place, align up the prongs, and then it has screws on either side. And you're going to tighten those down. You don't have to do it all the way. But if you do, what that's going to help prevent is if you have children, dogs, or if your cables hang down by your feet, instead of if you ever kick them or something runs into them, that's going to keep it from pulling out. So you're going to maintain your monitor image, and it's just going to keep it safe. And you're going to do the same thing on the monitor. So the monitor should be hooked up, and they're color coded, so that'll work out. It was the blue backing, and then you just adjust that and put that in. So we already have that one plugged in, and our power is plugged into our screen. That's going to be a different plug-in, the location and type for each type of monitor. Going to come over to the other dual screen, and this is going to be our HDMI. If you want to look at it, that is not color coded. It just has a little slot there for it, and it is labeled HDMI. Most of them are labeled that way. So we plug that in, and then we're going to come over to the computer, and then this should be labeled HDMI. We come back over to the tower, find our HDMI slot, and we're going to plug it right in. Once that's in, we're going to unravel the cords on our keyboard and mouse, and we're going to find our USB slots. And we'll plug those in. Your USB slots are going to look like long rectangular slots there in the back of the computer. Usually you have a minimum of 2. A lot of computers have more than that now. You also usually find USB slots on the front of your computer for easy digital device hookup. So everything is hooked into the back of the computer at this point. minus our sound system, but that's a whole different venture right there, depending on the speakers that you get and whatnot. A lot of computers now come with speakers inside either the tower here or built into the monitors. So after everything is hooked up, then we're going to plug right into our power source. So our desk has one right here up top, otherwise you'll just have to run your wires to your closest plug-in, most likely having to use a power strip if you have a configuration like this where I have additional features on it, like the 2 extra screens and an audio system. And then we're just going to move everything into place exactly how we want it. I want to tuck my computer tower back here a bit out of the way. And then I just place my computer screens right next to each other. And the benefit of having a dual screen setup is when I'm working on this one, I can actually pull up a whole different window on this side. So whether it be 2 Internet Explorer pages or an Excel spreadsheet or Word document on one side, and then we can pull up the internet on the other side, it just helps it work, or it helps your workflow a whole lot more and can save a lot of time working off of that. So we'll go ahead and boot up our system here, and we'll show you how to set up the configuration of the dual screens. Sometimes, depending on how you hooked up your cables and your monitors, they're going to fall on the opposite side, because I should be able to have my start menu and everything on this side and be able to move my mouse to the right and have it scroll on to the right. Sometimes they're flipped around depending on how your cables are hooked up. So right now we are experiencing exactly what I was talking about. My main window is on the right now, and so I have to scroll. If I scroll right from my main window, I'm actually coming over to the screen. Versus if I'm here, I should be able to scroll left and come straight onto the window. So they're backwards right now. So what we're going to do is go to the computer settings. So what you're going to do is you're going to end up going to your control panel. From your control panel, you're going to want to go to your appearance and personalization. It depends on which operating system you're working on. Right now we're on the Windows 8.1, I believe, on this system. So this is how we get to it. You just go to your start menu, hit your My Computer, work your way into the control panel, and then appearance and personalization. So the quick option that we're going to do here is adjust screen resolution. So right here, when that shows up, this is where you can actually adjust your resolution, and we have pretty good screens, so we can go up to the highest resolution there. So we're just going to keep that the same as the displays. And if you have your dual screens hooked up and it's showing the picture on both, then it should be displaying both. So you can see that both of our monitors are being detected. Sometimes when you hook up your monitors for the first time, it won't pick up one, and so you have to go in and hit detect, and then you can also hit identify here. So this is, it says 1 and 2 right there. So when I hit identify, it actually puts the numbers on the screen. So it thinks that my when I hit identify, my number 1 is showing up on this screen. So if you're looking at the actual appearance, it thinks that my number 1 is on the left side right now. So you can either pick up your screens and move them, or you can just click and drag the other way. Okay, so whenever you switch your screens back, so you can drag and drop, and you can switch the direction of your screens. But what you're seeing on this one is right now it has the number 1, and then it has this window right here. And that means that it's being used as your main screen. So it has your start menu and all of your main icons on it. And I don't want it that way. I want it to be set up on the left screen. So my number is right, number 1 is on the right, number 1 is on the right, and 2 on the left. So your multiple displays should be on extend these displays in order for it to work in conjunction with each other. And then when we hit number 2, you just click the number 2 there, and you can click make this my main display, click OK, it'll restart it. And and then now it's switched all of my icons and my start menu and everything over to the left side. That's how I want it. And that automatically applied the settings depending on if you're changing your resolution and whatnot. So if I move it to a lower amount, if I hit OK, then it'll change it, and then it'll ask you if you want to keep the changes. So I don't want to keep that because it's lower resolution. I'm going to hit revert here, and it'll put it back to its regular. So you can play around with that a little bit, but that's how you set up the dual screen monitors on your computer system.
DIY with Chris, giving you the tools to do it yourself.
DIY with Chris, giving you the tools to do it yourself.